in the pick of the litter. Now my name ring bells when you talk to the hitters. Nice nigga, but don't make me transform like Thriller. Sam Cooke a nigga beat like I was born by the river. Go get her, you kiss her, you get off of the shitter. Can't put you in the spot like you niggas are with her. Keep an eye open round for any nigga that slither. Cause it ain't no sunshine here like Bill Withers. Whoa, fuck you know about this life I live. How you gon' talk to me like I ain't lose no rib? Like I ain't lose no crib, ain't lose no kid. Ain't sleep in my car and I ain't lose no gig. Shit, I never gave an order that I ain't did. And I ain't never take a fucking thing that I wouldn't give. Always kept it a bill, homie, I ain't fit. And if I had to go, then I just do my bid. Yo, my whole team full of steel beams we can't fold. Your whole circle full of some squares you can't roll. That's why we always take it to levels you can't go. Talk shit, but you can see me with these hands though. If looks to kill like Cyclops, these niggas wanna see me in Pine Box. No, not on my watch. Got a better chance to rewind clocks when you quit, nigga, when time stops, bitch. Go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters, whoa. Go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters, whoa.
His flow is award winning. Torment him, bomb to death, I'm bored with him. Trash him, throw him away with the has-beens. Ice cold with the flow, I'm Alaskan. You was in the fucking jungle in the past tense. I be with the lions, they my friends, Harold Baskins. And like her, they'll never find a body. Tiger stripe tracksuit, feeling like Joe Exotic. Shit, I don't know what it is, but I know I got it. Feeling like Alonzo, surgical with the shotty. All you see is skull and bones, Illuminati. Probably I be the illest nigga to do it. I just talk shit on the beat and they call it music. I just come provide you with heat, remain the coolest. You ain't never been in the street with all the shooters. I was sipping yak with rioters and looters. Gotta keep my boots laid, shoot straight. Run up on you with the loose 8 in a screw face. It's bad out here, my style effortless. 2 hands hugging a Ruger, so affectionate. A lot of suckers don't want war, I'm respecting it. Biggest stepper, snatch a plate, the hood starving. Cause they got beards who trade like James Harden. Straight from NY to Philly, we still mobbing.
Go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters, whoa. Go get her, big stepper, hard body, one West rapper. Put on for my king, my niggas, certified one West hitters, whoa. 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 Whoa.
Y'all ain't ready yet, man. Here it come right now, prepare yourself. Here comes the boom.
Here come the boom. Look who just stepped in the room. Got soldiers in every direction. As long as they stepping in tone. I be in all black with the groom. Watching Babylon fall to doom. Lord, know I'm ready, and I know that you know that her love is deadly, but I am immune. These niggas talking rude to whom? That's a spot, you'll be moving soon, and you'll be leaving shortly. Still fucking with them angels, yeah, they still enforcement. Got a whole lot of zeal, I can't get it off me. Plus I'm winning like I got a blue ribbon on me. He ain't one what, bitch, I beg your pardon. See, I knew these niggas like to do that pillow talking, so that's why I bought a Glock to the summer party. Got it off the dust. I just began to it pretty much. That brotherhood of weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. If it ain't for West, nigga, hush. I don't wanna hear it, keep your tone down. Had a couple complications, but it's on now. So you can kill it, speculation, bitch, I'm thrown down. And if you want a conversation, set his zone down. Nigga, what he say, I ain't hear him, I done zoned down. Can't walk, this a low mouth. I'm 44, I'm on another level with it. These niggas never listen, so I let the devil get his ass. I try to tell him, I'm a rebel nigga. Better be careful if you ever think I'm stepping in my pound. Cause it ain't no game, stay in your lane. Now I'm playing twisted metal with his ass. Got it out the gut. I just began to it pretty much. Your brotherhood and weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. Revenge to my main bitch, I think I got a crush. And she know that I got some sick shit inside me. But you know it should be K versus everybody. Got the top through the buttons like he Teddy Riley. I'ma race through the track like a Ricky Bobby. Got it out the dust. I just began to it pretty much. Your brotherhood and weapon, gotta keep it in the clutch. Gotta keep it with me, it's a must.
Yeah. Let me know if y'all can hear me loud and clear. If y'all are on Clubhouse or if you on YouTube right now, let me get a 1 in the chat. You know what I mean? Let me get a one. Loud and clear, loud and clear. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Captain Sakawar, I see you in the backdrop. Just, you know what I'm saying? Give me a signal whenever you're ready to come on. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we locked in. We locked in. You know what I mean? So just so y'all know, you know what I'm saying? We have our own, you understand, debate platform now. Our own pay-per-view platform. We got different debates coming up. Garfield running for his life. You know what I'm saying? Scared to have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? He shook ones. We have already booked Captain Nazaryak and Elder Yara for Sunday, June 25th, 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at crossthelineradio.com. It's crossthelineradio.com. And coming up in the future, what we're trying to set up is Captain Sakawar versus Top Catz. Now, maybe a lot of y'all are like me. I didn't know necessarily Top Catz, you know what I'm saying, prior to, you know what I'm saying, like recent history. He says, you know what I'm saying, ironically, he's the top dog, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to, hold on one second. He's saying he the top dog when it comes down to the indigenous community. You know what I mean? So he trying to say, you know, there's no one higher than him when it comes down to, you know what I'm saying, anything indigenous inside of the Americas. You know what I'm saying? That's who this cat's supposed to be, is what he said. So I had a discussion with him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Mizak. You know what I'm saying? That's my brother. You know what I'm saying? Who's a part of that community. So, you know what I'm saying? I heard he's always telling me, man, Top Catz is always calling out to Zaryak, man. He's calling out Captain Zaryak. Well, I'm like, well, I don't know who he is. He can't get no debate with Captain Zaryak. You know what I'm saying? But I'll tell you who, you know what I'm saying, what we could do. You know what I'm saying? I got a brother inside the school right now who's a Gadite. You know what I'm saying? Who is very well versed in indigenous studies. You know what I'm saying? Seeing as how he's quote unquote a North American Indian or Native American, you know, whatever term, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, indigenous to the Americas, whatever term y'all want to be able to turn around and see. And, you know what I'm saying? So now we set up for the discussion for today. Now, the only thing is this so-called top dog named Top Cat, he ain't answering the calls. He not answering the text messages. You know what I'm saying? I called him this morning. I texted him this afternoon. I called him again this afternoon. Forgot I had his Instagram. Hit his Instagram again. Yo, I don't know what it is. Now, I don't know if y'all you ready to come in, Cap? You ready to go? You on the stream now?
What it do, man?
What's happening? You know what I'm saying? So if I could, you know what I'm saying, I'll just finish just a little bit of this intro. I'm gonna bounce you the ball right back for introduction. So for just so y'all know, sometime after the battle with Polite, Captain Sakawar was supposed to debate this cat Ali Muhammad, who ran from the debate. Cap, I don't know what do you pump fear in the hearts of these cats? Like I don't know what it is. Like do they just hear the Gadite war cry? Like what is it do you believe that nobody ever wants to show up and face you? You know what I'm saying? So without further introduction, this is Captain Sakawar.
Hey, shalom, Israel. What's going on with y'all? Shalom to all the tune. You know what I'm saying? Everybody tuned in to Crossline Radio, everybody on Clubhouse. This is what I'll say, Kataza. You know what I'm saying? Of course, all credit goes to the Most High, Christ. You know what I'm saying? I think what happens is a lot of these brothers have an idea of, you know, who we are, have an idea of the knowledge that we possess. And initially, they always gun-ho. They always ready to charge in and want to try to debunk the ISUPK, try to come up against the Bible or come up against the history and the records that we've proven since 1969. But, you know, when it actually comes time to step up, when it actually comes time to go face to face and toe to toe, you know, the Spirit of the Lord has them to cower down, man, because once we get to having a conversation, once we get to speaking, once they get to go watch a class, they get to understand and see like, damn, these brothers is dropping something heavy, something deep that I can't really contend with. You know what I'm saying? So I'll never take any credit for any of the victories in battle that I've won without ever having to set foot on the battlefield. But I will give the credit to the Most High Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Damn right. Well, like I said, we do have other battles coming up. So, you know what I'm saying? While we here, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to talk a little smack till this cat shows up or doesn't.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm putting this in the chat right now. These are the tickets for Captain Zaryak versus El Diara is reincarnation in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Tickets are on pre-sale now. The ticket prices are going to go up. If you are already subscribed to Cross the Line Radio, you'll receive a coupon for $5 off. So it'll only be $10 for the ticket. It is $15 for everyone else. This will only be able to be viewed on our pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? No more StreamYard. I mean, not StreamYard. No more Zoom. You know what I'm saying? We have our own independent platform. You know what I'm saying? Where we can smoke cats. You know what I'm saying? Like top cats. Like I don't even understand. Like he's like, I'm the number one debater. I'm number one. It's me. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, this got to be a 2 event. He was like, after I bust down your boy, let me get to Zaryak. And he can't even show up. He can't. So Cap, like, you know what I'm saying? This is the North American Indian community. This is the indigenous community. He's smoking too much peace pipe. What's going on? Is peyote? What is it? Like, let me know what's going down.
Hey, this is what I want to do, Catz. I want to stall Top Cats out, man. I don't want to run the cat away. I want to say maybe, you know, the bill got behind, maybe the check got lost in the mail, his cell phone got cut off or something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he got some extenuating circumstances we don't know about, but surely the cat ain't run after all that nonsense he was talking, Catz. As soon as you made me aware of this, brother, put me on the radar, you know, I go do my research and go do my studying, and it's just, I mean, it's really laughable that this cat would even make some of the claims that he's making, you know, about being able to, you know, debate or battle or even have a conversation with us. I just say this, man, a lot of the times we get introduced to these brothers, we're very underwhelmed with the way that they present themselves, with the so-called knowledge that they possess. And anybody that's in this indigenous community, anybody that's claims to be an aboriginal, anybody that wants to debate or argue with the ISUPK about the validity of our claims that our people who were here in this Western Hemisphere prior to Columbus coming over were Israelites, you're going to have to bring your evidence. You're going to have to bring your proof and your sources to debunk the stance that we take, which is on the Bible. And to this day, since 1969 and thousands of years prior, nobody is able to combat or debunk what is recorded in the Bible, because what is recorded in the Bible is the oldest historical and cultural record of the chosen people of God and their connection to the Most High. You understand? And so the evidence of us being in power, being in rulership, having established civilization is recorded all across the earth. You understand? So anybody who wants to come with any argument or debate about the presence of God's chosen people here in the Western Hemisphere, you either going to have to agree with us or you're going to have to take us down. You're going to have to show us some things that nobody on the earth has ever seen. And we know that you can't do that. The reality, Kadazar, is that a lot of these cats, when they come into these battles and these debates with us, there's one thing they aren't prepared for. And I'm not going to give it away now because I want to see who else going to come out of the woodworks. If Top Cats is too scared to step up, I want to see what other scholars or what other historians or what other, you know, brothers are out there who have an idea that what they believe and what they can prove can combat or debunk what it is that we stand on in our historical and cultural record, which is the Bible.
You know, Cat, it's what I'm starting to find is I don't really think that they have any real scholars in that community. You know what I'm saying? And the reason being is because I was supposed to talk to this cat. You know what I'm saying? Hold on 1 second. He calling me right now. Yo.
Here you go. Come on, hop on in the stream, my nigga. Don't be scared now.
Hey, come on, man. You already know 6 p.m., bro. We're punctual.
We on time, man. We live.
You said it would be 6 my time, 5 yours.
Come on now. Tamika, we about to get ready to have a conversation now. If he gonna hop on the stream.
All right,
Tori said we ain't got no scholars either.
He's saying it was a schedule conflict because of the what do you call it? But all right, we waiting for you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so he didn't run. He didn't run, y'all. He ain't run. All right, man. I'll see you in a minute. Because I'm going to tell you now, the reason as to why I believe that, you know what I'm saying, he might have been running is because I had a discussion with brothers by the name, they go by Aboriginal Power. You know what I'm saying? And he got smoked. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even this brother here that I was talking to, Top Cat, was at least non-biased and honest enough to know, you know what I'm saying? We boxed him up, you know what I'm saying, when we had that conversation, when we were supposed to have part 2. And what's amazing was part 2 was on his platform. Time came, they never hit us up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know what be going on with y'all. I mean, I know a lot of different brothers. They don't have the same punctuality or organization or structure that we have, or discipline at all. You know what I'm saying? But for somebody who was talking that much smack, you know what I'm saying? Like from when we had that conversation, you know what I mean? Like I thought that he would have been here. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mika, you could let Tory talk his smack. He ain't got nothing to come with anyway. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Let him talk they smack. Nashak, you got a question or comment? What's happening? I'm gonna go ahead and mute you. But what's good?
But yeah, Catz, I was just gonna say, man, when brothers come to have a conversation or a debate with the ISUPK, you have to truly be prepared for battle, man. And I think what a lot of people learn is that they just have belief. In the ISUPK, we don't have belief. We have knowledge. You understand? Meaning this. Belief is not a what's the word I'm looking for? Belief is not a noun to us. Belief is a verb. You understand? It's an action word. You understand? Faith is not a noun to us. We don't have faith in ISUPK, meaning we just, trust in something that we don't have any knowledge of. No, we trust in what we know. We believe what we know to be true. You understand? And we stand on factual, tangible evidence that can be proven and can't be refuted. A lot of people out there, man, because of the ills of religion that has plagued all of our communities, the Black community, the so-called Hispanic community, the indigenous and Aboriginal community, the Caribbean community. Well, however you want to break it down, we have been plagued by our oppressors with the ideas that faith and belief make things real, when the only thing that makes something real is it being real. You understand? And just because you think, or because you have a belief, or because you have faith in what you think your ancestors did, or and what you read in some manuscript, or what you watched on some YouTube video, doesn't make it real. And when you come to battle with us, man, you got to understand that you are battling people who have dedicated their lives to being able to prove what it is that we believe in. The reason why we go out here on these streets all the time, because like I tell them, we not like your pastors in the church, or like the Muslim in the mosque, or like the YouTube cat sitting behind his computer. We are out there on the streets because we know that out of all the hundreds of thousands or millions of random people walking on the streets in that given time, no one's going to be able to come up and confound us. Nobody's going to be able to come up and disprove anything that we say. Nobody can compete or combat the knowledge that comes from the Most High. And if you aren't standing on the Most High, if that isn't your source, if that isn't what you are acknowledging for giving you all of your perspective and all of your wisdom and all of your insight, then nothing you do can hold a torch to what we doing. Because you ask any man in ISUPK, ask any of these brothers that was raised up in these ranks, hell, man, I'm just a brother that the Lord allowed to be able to wake up. I'm just a cat the Most High gave an opportunity to learn some stuff, and really gave me no choice but to dedicate my life to this. Come on, man. What you gonna do with that? You still sitting at home getting high. You still sitting at home and you reading whatever you're reading. You still sitting at home and, imagining what things may be. You're not really serious about this. Your life isn't really that serious. And the Most High not with you, because how could he be? So, man, for anybody out there, if you're thinking about debating or battling the ISUPK, just, understand that what you're trying to do is box with the Most High, and your arms ain't long enough. Your punches ain't strong enough. Your head ain't quick enough to, dodge the counter. You're gonna get your top knocked off every time, man. You know what I'm saying? So anybody that wants to step in the ring, go ahead and step up, get knocked down, and then we'll go ahead and just keep moving forward like we've been doing. Go ahead, Catz.
Now, listen, for sure. You know what I'm saying? So the brother said he on his way home. He trying to say that it was some kind of scheduling conflict because we're supposed to have a time difference. He thought it was 6 his time. I thought it was 6 my time. You know what I'm saying? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. You know
Here
what
we
I'm
go. Here
saying?
we go.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. So we're going to give them a little bit of time. I really only wanted to run for maybe about an hour on this. We'll see what's up. I got to be out of here by 7:30 my time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? We'll be able to go from there. But you know what I'm saying? I think either way, it would be a good discussion to have because, I mean, I think what people fail to comprehend is there's more evidence for the Northern Kingdom when it comes down to archaeology than I think there is for the Southern Kingdom. You know what I'm saying? When I look at all the archaeology, when I look at all the anthropology, when I look at all the, you know what I'm saying, the historians, and you know what I'm saying, like we're talking from what do you call it? Hey, Shalom, Mizak. Yeah, I know he from Texas, man, but when we talk, you know what I'm saying, we had an agreement. You know what I mean? But as far as that's concerned, you know what I'm saying, you look at all the different historians from the time, like even Europeans, you know what I'm saying, came over here, right? So you pay attention to how they you know what I'm saying, like you take a look at over the past, you know, how many hundreds of years from 1492 to the present day, you had people from different demographics. You had people from, you know what I'm saying, of different vocations. You had people from, you know what I'm saying, different cultures, different languages, who all came and traveled through the Americas. They traveled through the Caribbean. They traveled through Central America, traveled through South America, traveled through North America. And each one of them, whether they were from Germany, whether they were from Spain, whether they were from Portugal, whether they were from Italy, each one of them all came to the same conclusion. These are a Hebrew-speaking people. They must be the lost tribes of Israel. They're following, you know what I'm saying, the customs of Deuteronomy. They're following, you know what I'm saying, Levitical law. You know what I mean? They're looking at how they map their months from the moons. They're looking at how they, you know what I'm saying, separate from their women on their menstrual cycle, how they circumcise their young. They consider swine that the Spanish brought over to the Americas to be an unclean animal. Because if you can go look this up, pigs were not indigenous to the Americas. That was brought over from Europe. How would they know this animal they never seen and consider it to be something unclean? Because of the Levitical dietary law. So when you go and when you sift through, you know what I'm saying, like all of the different archaeology, the history, the historians, the oral traditions, everything boils down to these people being the lost tribes of the nation of Israel. Like the information is overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? But I'm glad, you know what I'm saying, this cat's not going to run like Garfield trying to do.
Yeah, man. And like you said, Catz, it's an important conversation to have because now is the time that those indigenous / Aboriginal brothers come on into the truth, man, and wake up to the real truth that matters. It's one thing to be able to prove and stand on, yeah, we were here before Columbus came. We had established civilization here, and we were living, you know, and thriving, and there were millions, you know, we were millions of people strong in this country, which is true. I mean, so much has been swept under the rug in terms of just the vast amount of society that was established here in this Western Hemisphere is ridiculous. I mean, we hear about the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Incas, but there's, you know, there's a lot that's swept under the rug, particularly in North America, not only in mainland America, the United States, but also up there in Canada. You know what I'm saying? There's so much that has been changed over the years in terms of the topography, in terms of the terraforming of the land that was done by the Europeans. There's so much that has been swept under the rug and hidden from us that when you begin to learn this knowledge, man, it's exciting. Man, it's goddamn, it's amazing to be able to find out some of these things. But if all you get stuck on is finding out that we were here and we were the Israelites and we had society and civilization, if you get stuck on trying to get reparations or get stuck on the legalities of, you know, these contracts that we signed with the Europeans or the legalities of, you know, different treaties that were violated, then that is the rabbit hole that the oppressor wants you to be stuck in. What these Aboriginal and these indigenous brothers have to realize is that there is a next step. There is a higher level of understanding and of knowledge and of practicality that you can achieve beyond just knowing, hey, man, we were here and we were lied to. Like, it's so many layers of it's so many layers that we have to get to only get stuck on. We was here in the Americas before Columbus came. Man, y'all brothers is you settling for so much less than what you deserve. You deserve to understand the morality of the people who had settled here and what made them great. You deserve to understand the connection that they had to the Most High. You deserve to understand that culture that Catz is talking about and those traditions, you understand, and the keeping of those laws is what allowed those people to become great and to have the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding that they possessed to be able to establish some of the civilizations. Man, you're gonna read some of those narratives from the conquistadors when they came to Mexico City, for instance, dealing down there with them Aztecs, man, and they had the floating gardens and all of the aqueducts and all of the, the vast knowledge and understanding that they had to possess in order to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? The agricultural word I'm looking for, Katazawa. They was, you get water from one place and transfer it to another.
Like an aqueduct?
Not an aqueduct, but when you building a canal, you know what I'm saying? Like, these people had such understanding and knowledge of the land and of how to, achieve certain agricultural feats.
Like irrigation.
To the Europeans who came over here, it was like, goddamn, where did these people come from? How did they get this knowledge? How are they so much more advanced than we are? How are their cities, twice the size of Paris when that was one of the biggest European cities at the time? It's because these are the same people who had been in tune with the Most High, who had the knowledge and the understanding from the beginning to be able to create these things. And what did the European do when he came over here and he found it? Did everything he could to destroy it, to hide it, to cover it up, and to confound the people of their true identity and their true origins. And that's where we are today, really trying to find ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Cap, we got another UPK punching bag that just came on the stage on Clubhouse. He goes by the name of Brother Garfield. What are you saying I made up, Garfield?
Yeah, I said everything you said was made up. I think what's the problem with UPK is that you're a part of an organization that has a teaching. So if you're from that group, you have to believe and teach that. So what happened is there's no research going on. It's just, I want to add something to what I believe. So your research methodology is off before you start. You made a statement that the people over here didn't know pork and all of that stuff. I could go through 500 tribes right now within the next hour and show you that they ate pork. So what are you going to do then?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? You're speaking in general. Let me finish my point.
Go ahead.
You're speaking in general because you're speaking to an echo chamber. But in a debate, you're going to get beat up on that. All the stuff you said a while ago is misinformation. It's misleading. It's not true. But you're saying it because you're speaking to an echo chamber. What I'm going to let you do, because it's your show and it's a weigh-in, I don't want to go back and forth with you on your own show. But I'm going to tell you this, though. All of what you said is misinformation.
Can I respond to that, Kataza?
Hey, go ahead, Cat.
I know this your rag doll. You like the tallest Garfield around. You and Tazaya, y'all have fun all the time. Let me get something, Kataza.
Go ahead. Get you.
Here's what you don't understand, Garfield, and please, you can respond, Garfield. Here's what you don't understand. Nothing that we speak on.
You ain't creepy. You ain't creepy like you don't know. Don't do that.
Nah, Garfield, I know you, goddammit. That's what I'm saying. Let me talk to you. Don't do that. I listen, Garfield, don't do that. You know me and you done seen eye to eye and talk, Garfield. Don't do that, player. Don't act like you don't know me. I'm not acting like I don't know you. I'm pleading the cottage out and let me have some, goddamn. Come on now.
All right.
Like I was saying, Garfield, when we speak on these topics, we are not speaking in terms of absolutes. We are not saying all our people, hold on, let me finish. We're not saying all our people were in the truth and all of our people were following God's laws and all our people were doing the right things. How do you know that we're not saying that, Garfield? Because that is our main argument for why that civilization fell, why they got destroyed, why they let the Europeans in, because we did not cling and hold on to what we were given from the beginning. So you can't come and say we're speaking to an echo chamber or we're not acknowledging the fall or the what's the word I'm looking for? The hypocrisy that existed here. All of the religions that were all over the world, Garfield, they were here. They influenced and affected us in this place, which is why when we encountered the Europeans, we were not on the united front. We were not standing together and fighting against them. We did not recognize that this is the enemy. Why? Because we had fallen away from the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding that had allowed us to get into that place. So a lot of the same confusion that we suffer today in 2023, they suffered it in 1492. They suffered it, you know what I'm saying, in the 1619s. The same division we have today, those civilizations had those same divisions as well because of religions and ideologies and philosophies. And that is why the Europeans, it was so easy for them to come in, divide, conquer, and control. And here we are in 2023 trying to pick the pieces back up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I will say that. No problem. I will say that the premise of that the tribes. Yeah, you're done. The premise that the tribes, and peace and love to you, by the way, Sakawar. I know you from your earlier days. You've been a beast in the ISUPK movement for years. Congratulations on your move and what you've been trying to do. All right. See how you greet somebody? All right. But anyway, I do feel that what we're lacking is a methodology in coming to a conclusion. And so what happened is when you already have the answer to a question before finding out how you reach to the question, it's called biased research. So what I will suggest in trying to say that the American people who are native here are Israelites, I would say I would look at the root of it. I would look at all the tribes. I would look at where the claim is coming from and draw a conclusion. I will say that there are many finds in the Americas that's been argued and debated by all sides. I'm not here to discuss that right now, but I will say this. The premise of your belief system have you to search and try to find out if the 12 tribe chart is a legitimate chart. What I would say is, with anthropology available, with archaeology available, with science, genetics available, with history available, I think we have enough information to know that that whole chart and the information of these native Indians being 12 tribes, a part of the 12 tribes, is totally false. And case in point, if we look at the genetic markers in the world, I could say we are genetically connected because, you know what? I might have a genetic marker that's over here. We need to have some sort of consistent genetic marker showing, hey, you know what? These people are these people. There's no genetic connection. There's no historical connection because guess what? All of it is based on Jews who you guys say are not even the true Jews, claiming that these people are the real Jews. And that's what's crazy about this. This is not anybody from Israel or who you would call the real people who are Israelites claiming this. These are people who you claim are false. These are people who are using the Indians to try to get back into to good spirits or in good lineage with the people in Britain because they were kicked out of England from the 12th century or the 13th century. They are using this argument to be good back with the British Empire. So all these motives and saying, hey, we found this and found that and go back to this person, that person, we need to deal with this on a factual basis. How did they get here and when? We have information they've been here from 13,000 years ago. We have information that they've been here from 6,000 years ago. We're talking about the Caral Supe, the Peru people, where some of those claims were made. Those people are claimed to be Israelites when they've been here the whole time. They're genetically connected to people who have been here way longer than Israelites have ever been. The Olmecs, the Mayans. These are people who have ancestors that predate everything that you talk about, predate Israel, predate Noah. So how is it that now you're trying to impose your belief on an entire culture? I don't, not even everybody that's here, because you did say not everybody, but how do you declare this when the people themselves are saying that they're not these people? Their culture, their oral traditions are not saying this. Now, I must say this. Whenever you look at cultures that have to do with, because in New Mexico, they have something connected to the winter solstice. Every culture in the world has something to do with the winter solstice. Every culture almost have some similar resurrection story. Almost every culture have some sort of virgin birth story. It's amazing when you study every culture and they don't know each other. I'm just saying human innovation is not evidence of people following the same rules and regulations of the Bible. Anthropologists met Native Americans here and they said, how y'all have a resurrection story? Where y'all get that from? And they never had a Bible. So we have to look at the story wholeheartedly, like you're baking a cake and you want to have all the recipe to make the cake. You can't just leave out the vanilla and the chocolate. You got to put everything with the cake to make it. And to do the research, you got to look at the bigger picture, not just what you want to believe in. I'll leave it right there.
Hey, you mind if I respond to one part, Cap?
You got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe one or two parts, right? Just to what he said earlier. One, you know what I'm saying? Captain Sakawar was directly on point. Like with the claims that you're making, Garfield, it would depend on what generation it was in. You know what I'm saying? It would depend on what century it was in, even when it comes down to the pork thing. You know what I'm saying? Because the more that they started to get conquered, the more that these people started to lose themselves and didn't even know the customs that they were attached to. Number one. Number two, when you try making things like, or when you try saying things, right, in the realm of, oh, every culture had a virgin birth. Okay, how many of those cultures were contemporary with each other? How many of them were actually conquered by another culture and it wasn't just something that was reverse engineered? We know Halloween goes back to, you know what I'm saying, Samhain, the Druid culture. You know what I'm saying? We can clearly see that Easter goes back to Ishtar. Every single nation, after it was conquered or comes after another nation, you start to see certain things that were reverse engineered. That's a terrible argument for you to make. And especially that you got found out that you do biased information. The criteria for what you say pseudo, the last time we talked, you found out that you don't fit the same criteria for pseudo, pulling a secondary source that was a theory that I called you out on. So you do bias research because your belief is to just come against everyone else's belief. So you don't do real research. You don't have a real methodology. You just find whatever the opposite end of the argument is, and then you try to come up against it and try to attack it. And this is probably why you're running from the discussion that I want to have with you in August. You know what I'm saying? So everything that you're saying is really bullshit, because you could turn around and talk about, I have more evidence and more artifacts for Peruvians being Israelites than almost any single other tribe, from the Shield of David being amongst them, from their customs, them following Levitical law. These same people that you're talking about, the Mayans, all these different cultures, they all have artifacts directly linking them to Israel. So for you to turn around now and then try to act as if, oh, XYZ, here's another thing. Even the dating that you're talking about, I guarantee you that it has to do with the Bering Strait. The Indians themselves don't believe in the Bering Strait. Yeah. The time frame that you're even trying to say 15, 16,000 years ago, because of what they're even trying to say from how the weather would have been and how they're trying to say with the Ice Age, they're trying to say that this land would have even been uninhabitable at that time. Science doesn't even agree with you anymore, because the people who turned around and spoke about the Bering Strait, the people who invented that, first of all, it wasn't even a scientific method. It was Jose de Acosta, who was a Jesuit, came up with it at the later end of the 16th century. Then the ones who picked it up made it an indoctrination in the Bureau of Ethnology, and if you went against it, you lost your job. And get this, they followed eugenics. They were all about white supremacy. That's your problem, bro. Your sources come from white supremacy. You do biased arguments and you're pseudo. However, you know what I'm saying, Cap, I don't know if you want to, you know what I'm saying, piggyback off that, but the brother Top Catz, you know what I'm saying, has joined us. I'm about to add him to the stream now. Peace, bro. Appreciate you joining us.
Can I respond to that? Do I get to respond to that?
You could respond to that unless Captain Sakawar wants to say something first.
Nah, you got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Garfield. You could get the last word, then we're gonna bring our guest in.
All right. First of all, let me show you how pseudo you are. You just said Easter come from Ishtar. If you actually did some real research, you'll know that's pseudo. That whole Babylonian connection has nothing to do with Easter. But you have outdated information. You are here crying about sources and, oh, you don't want to debate. I do want to debate you. I just don't like the situation that you're trying to put me in as far as my value. That's what we're debating about right now. And I'll get to that when I call you later on. But now, as far as dating, I didn't say anything about anybody 15,000 years ago. I never even mentioned the Bering Strait. I talked about the Montana child that they found that's dated to 13,000 years ago. That child is a legitimate child that was available and alive. So if the people who are Native Americans today, 96% of them are connected genetically to this child. How is it possible they're connected to a child from 13,000 years ago if their Israelites never existed? It's because the natives aren't Israelites. So you are pushing this fake information that white folks made up. And you're talking about, I'm getting it from white supremacy and all this stuff, trying to appeal to emotions. Your pseudo information will get destroyed any day of the week. Of course I'm biased. Every human being is biased. but you automatically believe what you're saying is true. You don't have anyone in my shoes that could challenge you. So you offer this information because you want to portray and push this fake 12-tribe chart, which is based, your whole argument is also based on the whole Arzareth and Second Esdras, which we know is an AD era book. There's no evidence that Second Esdras goes back, and you keep saying that you have scholars that say it dates to the BC era, and you've never provided them because they don't exist. So when you're talking about information and being pseudo, bro, I will destroy every word that comes out of ISUPK's mouth regarding Native Americans. I know the argument inside out. Go to the people from the tribes. I have testimonials from several different tribes. I know the guy that's connected to the book about when the Scottish were Jewish, and he has this company that's trying to get the DNA and say they connected to Israel. I know about all those dudes. I know all the fake information, bro, that's out there. And you have gravitated to it because you're hearing an echo like, yo, it seems like Ariana's chart is right, when you know that chart itself has holes in it. Because we know the Mormons were the first ones to come up with that. The Indians were this tribe and that tribe. And then you guys this guy came up with a tribe all of a sudden in the 70s or whatever he came up with it. Let's stop playing games. Nobody is scared to debate you, bro. I will ragdog you on any source, any information that you bring. And you know this. So don't bait. I want to debate you. I'll declare it now. We have it on record. But we will talk behind the scenes on compensation and what I think I deserve. All right? Peace and love, man. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, peace. So that was the punching bag of the UPK. He's out now. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, he doesn't want us to clear any of that up as well. You know what I'm saying? The brother thinks, you know what I'm saying, he's worth his weight in gold, and really he ain't worth his weight in aluminium. So just so y'all know, you know what I'm saying, we have a real debate coming up because Garfield's only had about one in his life, and that's between, you know what I'm saying, the grand champ of the House of Consciousness, Captain Zaryak, and the brother and Elder.
He's worth his weight in what now?
He thinks he's worth his weight in gold. I say he's worth his weight in aluminum. So you know what I'm saying, y'all can click that link at the top if you want to subscribe to it, you know what I'm saying. And my man, you know what I'm saying, Top Catz, you ready for us or what's happening?
Peace, shalom, I'm in the building.
Hey, shalom, brother. If you could, you know what I'm saying, introduce yourself to our audience. We're live on Cross the Line as well as Clubhouse right now.
All right, peace, man. You can choose loser, you can stay confused. I'm the hardest scholar out here on YouTube. I'm legendary Top Catz. You feel me? I'm a Kasadi Indian. I represent American Indian paradigm, and we're here to see what these Hebrew Israelites got to say today.
All right, well, let me go ahead and introduce myself, Top Catz. What's going on with you, man? I'm captain of 10,000 Sakawar of the ISUPK from the Tribe of Gad, North American Indians. You know what I'm saying? My father is a Lumbee down there in North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? All the way from Fayetteville down to Lumberton, all the way into South Carolina. Captain Catz, man, came to me a couple weeks ago, said you was looking to have a discussion with the ISUPK concerning the indigenous people, you know what I'm saying, here in North America. I just was curious, brother. You said, I believe you stated your tribe. Just give me a little bit of information on, you know what I'm saying, your background and your understanding in terms of the identity of, you know, your foremothers and forefathers that were indigenous to this land, and where you stand in terms of what that means, not only for your people, you know what I'm saying, your immediate family, but for the majority of the people that was occupying this Northern Hemisphere prior to the Europeans and are still here today. What is your identity or your information that you bringing concerning your identity mean for them?
All right. Well, I'm the legendary Top Catz. I represent BCU, Big Chief University. We stand on bloodline. Our number one thing, our foundation is genealogy, bloodline, knowing who you are, your story, and where you fit in the story of history. Me, myself, on my mom's side, Cherokee. They came out of South Carolina, migrated to Texas during the Indian Removal Act. Also, my family come out of Alabama. My 8th ancestor is Osceola, the Seminole Chief, fought against U.S. expansion. My family chief Mingo fought in the Texas Revolution. He spoke for our band. It was 3 different bands of the Kasadi. He spoke for his band. Him and Sam Houston had a relationship during the war of the Texas Revolution, like I say. My grandma grew up on the my grandpa grew up on the reservation. He moved his family to the city, and that's why I'm here. I'm second generation in the city, out the country, straight out of the Indian trade site right here down in Texas. What I feel like the American paradigm means, not only for me but my family, a lot of people out here been indoctrinated by doctrines. A lot of people have come in giving people identities, whether it been the Moors, whether it been the Hebrews, whether it been the Pan Africans, or any of these other ideologies that our family didn't tell us at home. We came out here, someone passed by us and put a book in our hand and gave us an identity. When the only identity you can have is your mother and father bloodline. I land right there.
Okay, all right, that's what's up. You said the Kasadi Indians, right? If you don't mind, can you spell that for me?
Yes, sir. Kosati.
All right, Kosati. All right, that's what's up. That's what's up. So,
If I could
Go ahead.
select Cap, just one brief thing, you know what I'm saying? Just to everybody on Clubhouse, man, go ahead and share the room. We got about 60 people in here right now and 23 shares. Let's get that up to about 50. You could share the room twice. Shout out to everybody who's on Cross the Line. I know this ain't our regular hours, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? Definitely, you know what I'm saying? Big up to everybody. Share it, like it, and Cap, the floor is yours.
So if I could, Topcast, what is the method? What's the methodology that you use to establish the genealogies and the bloodlines of the people who um, say to lay claim to being indigenous of this land? I know you gave your genealogy in terms of going back to your father, your mother, you know what I'm saying, where they came from. But what about somebody who was come from a family where they didn't know their father or they didn't really know their mother? What about, you know what I'm saying, a cat that was an orphan or grew up in a family where he was neglected and doesn't have a grandmother or grandfather or somebody, you know, that has, you know, any point of reference to tell them who they are and where they from? How was somebody like myself who grew up without my father, you know what I'm saying? I know my mother was just a black woman, you know what I'm saying? And my family claimed to had traced, you know, did one of them 23andMe type jumps, found out that we came from 6 brothers who came off a slave ship in Africa, you know what I'm saying? How would you approach somebody who doesn't have any frame of reference or point of origin for who they are and where they come from? How do you establish their genealogy and be able to go into them, into their bloodline and show them where they are or where they are not from?
Yes, sir. Great question. Well, that happens often. Some people, like you say, don't know their mother or father, or maybe grew up in adoption or whatever. Well, to that case, you still have to, in order to do it, you still have a bloodline, which means there still is a story out there. So, one of the methods is you had a birth certificate, so you can check your birth records or the place you were born at, or in some cases, people do DNA, not the DNA to trace you back to a long distant ancestor, but to relatives who are still living. Maybe I'd advise you try to get in contact with some of those people if you can find some of those people on there. But if you are familiar with someone in your family, try to get with them and maybe the elder in your family and get some names or whatever. And you have sites out there, services for ancestry, so on, genealogy sites where you can put these names in, put these dates in, and find a paper trail. So whether it be marriage records, census records, military records, things of that nature, right there. That'll be the advice I give someone.
Okay. Next Topcast, I don't want to be dominating the conversation by asking questions, brother. Of course, if you got some questions that you could ask, you know what I'm saying, you got in line, you could ask me at any time. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to ask a question. If not, I got a couple more, you know what I'm saying, we can go walk this walk.
Okay. So earlier you said you were from the Lumbee tribe.
Yeah, Lumbee tribe.
Okay, that's North Carolina, right?
That's North Carolina.
All right. So what would the tribe of Gad be from?
The tribe of Gad covers multiple tribes that were located and dominated here in the North American continent. You know what I'm saying? So there's various tribes that was all across, you know what I'm saying, North America, all the way up into Canada, all the way up down here on the mainland USA. The Cherokees, the Choctaws, the 5 major nations, you know what I'm saying? according to biblical prophecy, the tribe of Gad, who will overcome, you know what I'm saying, by the oppressors here in North America, would all fit under the auspices of the tribe of Gad.
So, just from my understanding, are you saying that the tribe of Gad will embody the 5 civilized tribes, or everyone?
Yeah. No,
only the 5.
No, not only the 5. All of the tribes that were predominant here on the North American continent.
Okay. So my nation, right, Kasadi, which is an older nation here. We have a lot of history down in the southeast, where these 5 civilized tribes said to be later. But in our history, we see nothing of a tribe of Gad, no mention of us called the tribe of Gad. What do you say to that? To if we look into this, so that's we joined the Muskogee Confederacy. No one in our Confederacy identified as the tribe of Gad. What do you say about that? Neither have I seen the Lumbee identify as the tribe of Gad.
Okay. Well, if we're going to deal with the biblical names or you know what I'm saying, when we're dealing with the 12 tribes according to the Bible, these were 12 families, right? And over time, a family grows. Family grows and grows. And any family that has gotten large enough, they don't always just identify as the family at large. It becomes different divisions or different parts of the family. You know what I'm saying? So let's say, for instance, that I'm gonna use the Bible as a real life example. Jacob had 12 sons, right? Those 12 sons, you know what I'm saying, all grew in size and grew in strength and grew in their you know what I'm saying, scope, wealth, and influence on the earth, right? They grew massively. Well, you wouldn't just have everybody saying I'm Judah. You would have somebody saying, you know what I'm saying, I'm John's boy, or we the Johnsons, and we the Thompsons, and we the Simpsons, and the Sanders, but they all come from one family. They all come from one tribe. So of course, we're talking from the days of the Bible where we identify. First of all, we didn't identify as the tribe of Gad because Gad is an English name. We got to go back to the ancient Hebrew, you understand, and deal with the language that we utilize and the way that we identified ourselves back then.
So what name would that be? I don't mean to cut you off, but what would the Gad be in Hebrew?
Gad in Hebrew would be God.
So
tribe of God.
The tribe of God.
Not God the way we say God in English, but Gad in Hebrew would be God. It would be pronounced God.
So in the history of the Lumbee, have you ever heard them identify themselves as the tribe of God?
No, I have not.
Okay, so what would that's what I'm saying. So outside of the Bible, where do we find this information? Or is this just a belief system according to the Bible?
No, outside of the Bible, we would find this information by looking at the history of these tribes, looking at the history of what happened here in the Americas, and the history of what happened with these people, where they stood prior to the Europeans coming over here, their involvement and interactions with the Europeans, and then their subsequent enslavement and, you know what I'm saying, the rape, robbery, and murder of their identity, their culture, their actual land, the actual people, and line that up with what the Bible prophesied would happen to the tribe of Gad.
Okay. I respect that. I say this to that. Far as the Europeans coming over and enslaving the American Indians, what do you place the Sephardic Jews? Because we know the Sephardic Jews had a hand in coming over to enslave the American Indians.
Well, real quick, just let me address something, you know what I'm saying, from what we were speaking on before. The 5 civilized nations that they identified here in North America, that was actually the tribe of Reuben in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And throughout various sources throughout history, you know what I'm saying, they identified themselves as the tribe of Reuben, identified themselves with, you know what I'm saying, being from Israel. All right. So you got the Cherokee, the Seminoles, the Yuche, the Muskogee, and the Choctaw. You know what I'm saying? They all identified as the tribe of Reuben. You understand? So outside of that would be where you get, you know what I'm saying, where the Gadites would come into play. All right. But historically, if you asking the same question you asked about Gad, these brothers did identify themselves as being from the tribe of Reuben, and we have plenty of sources where we could, point to show you that is indeed something that they spoke on themselves. All right. Now, speaking about the Sephardic Jews,
Hold on.
right?
Before we move on,
Go
I want to touch that topic.
Come
So
on
the
with it.
tribe of Reuben, it would be impossible for the Muskogee, the Cherokee, the Seminole to be the tribe of Reuben. Why do I say that? Because first off, the Cherokee are not the same people as the Muskogee. The Cherokee migrated from upstate New York. Okay, the Muskogee are from the southeast. The Seminole don't come to 1816, and they were a confederation of tribes who fought against the expansion of the U.S. So these people aren't the same people. Now the Muskogee did leave after 1815, the Battle of Fort Jackson, and go into Florida. In 1816, they became the Seminole. They'll then be called the Seminole. That's not what they called themselves, because, like I said, they were amalgamation of different tribes. So it would be impossible for them to be one, for them to be Reuben when they're not even the same people.
Now, if I could, brother, me and you, we bouncing around what we're talking about, right? I stated in the beginning that the tribe of Reuben is started out as a family, but grew and grew and grew to being a nation of people. The tribe of Gad started out as the family from a man named Gad and grew and grew and grew to become a nation of people. The same with all of the 12 tribes, right?
Hey, where did he live? Where did Gad live?
What do you mean, where did he live?
You said it started off with a guy named Gad. So I'm asking, like, where did he live? Where he from?
He from the land of our forefathers. That's what I'm saying.
Where is that?
When we're dealing with the Bible, again, we're dealing with a family that grew and grew and grew into nations. According to the Bible, brother, there's 18 nations on the planet, which means all of the various, what we would call today races, all the various nations of people, all of the different divisions on the map. I don't know how many countries there are in the world, but all of them come from 18 nations, 18 families, right? So over time, we're dealing with large groups of people who are covering massive plots of land. So when you say it's impossible for these 5 civilized nations to be the same people, you are not acknowledging the time and the spread and the growth of these families. You understand? Now, I said before this, I wasn't going to overrun you with a whole ton of questions. You was not going to overrun me with a whole ton of questions. You know what I'm saying? So we want a framework.
I think we both been fair. I think it's been even.
We have been.
I think you had a couple more questions than I did, but I'm okay with that.
Not even, big dog. Come on, Top Cast. You just asked about 5 questions, bro. And I see where we walking. You know what I'm saying? I see where you trying to take me. We ain't finna go there yet. We finna come right back, and we finna go back to the question that I was about to ask you.
Yes, sir. No problem.
You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get to the question that I was gonna ask you.
Can we get an answer on that? Can we at least finish that topic right there? For as how it's impossible for these people to be Reuben. You still didn't give me an answer where Gad lives. Because if he didn't live in America, then he sure can't be those nations of people you're talking about, because their oral traditions are from America and nowhere else. So if this guy Gad is from overseas, then I don't want to play Murray, but he is not the father.
I'm gonna let you sit on that one right there. I'm gonna let you sit on that one. If Gad isn't from over here in America, then there's no way he could be the father of these people.
Correct.
Right? And I hear you on that. I'm gonna let you stand on that one for right now. But I just told you that the 5 civilizations came from Reuben, and you dodging around Reuben. You won't say nothing about Reuben, but you keep wanting to go back to Gad.
Okay, well, I apologize. Reuben cannot be the father. If Reuben is not from America, he cannot be the father. Because first off, you have to understand the Cherokee is they migrated down south.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are you familiar with the Cherokee? Because the Lumbee fell into the Cherokee later. They were classified under the Cherokee later.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because the Cherokee are not an ancient tribe. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you understand they actually fought against these people. These were not the same people. They spoke different languages.
Mm-hmm.
The Cherokee spoke an Iroquois language. These people spoke Muskogee. Mm-hmm. So these are 2 different nations, 2 different bloodlines. two different people, brother.
But
So,
hold on, if I could though, Top Cats, just because they
yes,
speak
sir.
in different languages don't mean they different people, brother. Right now, I speak 3 different languages. So you're gonna tell me that, and you know what I'm saying? Plenty of brothers speak multiple languages. So you mean to tell me that when we encounter the oppressor, the language we speaking dictates what bloodline and what family we from? Like we can't be small minded and put our people in a
Well,
box
you're an
to where
individual. You're an individual. They're nation. Okay,
okay.
them as a collective spoke their own branch because they come from a different line of people.
So
Okay, and
who's
they
telling? Hold on, real quick. Who's
yes, sir.
telling us this? Who's telling us that these groups of people, these nations of people, didn't? So they didn't speak this. They couldn't communicate with one another. They didn't speak the same languages. They
No,
didn't
sir, they didn't
interact with
speak
each
the
other prior
same.
to the Europeans.
No, sir. Iroquois language and Muskogee are two different languages.
So are you
Yes, sir.
saying these people could not communicate with one another? So there wasn't no intertrading. There wasn't no dealings with one another. These people were completely isolated until Europeans came over here,
I never
and
said
then
that, and I don't
so
like
that's the
when you
question I'm
use.
asking.
Okay, okay,
You
okay. No,
you
sir,
you're
I wasn't
standing
saying that.
on. If I could, Topcast, you're standing on. They spoke different languages, man. They was from different families. They was completely different people, and I'm saying just because they spoke different languages doesn't mean they weren't able to communicate and deal with one another. Doesn't mean they couldn't have come from the same family. The Bible tells us that all the people on the earth spoke one language at one time, but now clearly we don't.
The
So
Bible
does
has to
that
prove
mean
that.
okay? So then you would have to prove that them speaking different languages means that they were different people. That's the point that
Okay,
I'm making. Is that
okay, yes,
if
sir.
you're going to stand on they spoke different languages, they were different people. I'm going to tell you, prove it.
Okay, the way that I prove that is the primary source in this is not you and I, but it's the
Is
actual
that
people. So,
okay?
so when we go to the actual people are saying they're not each other. Okay, they had different customs and culture, different ways of life, and and I mean, and like I say, the primary source would be the people. We don't see them identifying themselves as Reuben, and the Cherokee are not from the South, so it's impossible for them to be there. Cherokee government was created in 1794 for edification for the audience out there. So these are not even the ancient people. Reuben Seminole didn't come into 1816, unless you're telling me Reuben just was born in 1816. Family, we're not talking about the same people.
Okay. So what about the reclassification of these different tribes as you alluded to? You said the Lumbees got folded into the Cherokee, the Muskogee didn't come about until the 1800s. So with all of the various reclassifications of these people, where do we go to get to their point of origin or get to the place where they all were were separately identifying themselves and they hadn't had any influence or had to come together to retaliate against the oppressive force of the Europeans? Like, where are your primary sources to say this is what they identified as, this is where they live, this is what their culture was, this is what they worship, this was their God, this was their language, prior to the Europeans coming over here and reclassifying them?
Well, just like today, you are of Lumbee lineage, which indicates that the Lumbee people are still in existence today. So the sources still lies in the people because the people hold the story, and that's why I say in their stories, plenty of Lumbees out here. It's a lot of Lumbee history. We know what they went through in the 1800s when they were reclassified as Carolina came into statehood. We understand what happened with them. A lot of their land was taken, but in this case, so another reason, another point indicating that these people were still in existence. So they should be able to tell their own story, and in their story, we're not hearing a guy named Reuben nor Gad.
Okay, so when they say we having a debate, you bringing them to speak in the debate and say this is where we from. Like, what you got
Well, you're
interviews?
Lumbee. You can speak for the Lumbee. You're Lumbee.
But I don't need to. But
I'm
here's
here
what
to
I'm
speak
saying
for
though.
my nation.
All right, so that's cool. You here to speak for your nation. I'm not here to speak for the Lumbee. I'm here to speak for the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm here to speak for the Most High. And so that's where we have to come to a common ground of understanding where we both standing. I'm not standing on I'm a Lumbee. I'm standing on I'm an Israelite. And you standing on you because I don't want to mess the name
No
up.
problem,
Kasadi.
Kasadi.
You standing on you a Kasadi, right? So now here's what matters to me in any kind of debate or any kind of conversation that we're gonna have. What does you being a Kasadi and this is the question that I asked before I stopped and gave you the floor. What does you being a Kasadi and understanding that identity mean for the greater good of our people at large in fighting against the lies and the oppression of these Europeans who we all should be able to agree are the enemy and are the reason why we have to have conversations like this to establish a common ground on who we are and where we from. What I want to know is, what does being a Kasadi mean for our people who have been oppressed and who have been, overrun and who have been stripped of their history, their culture, and their heritage? How does knowing that you're a Kasadi change the condition of our people? And how does you, I guess, enlightening other people on who they are? What does that do to change the condition that we are in and have been in since these Europeans came over here and been oppressing us?
Great question, brother. I like to say, well, throughout history, we've been given identities through this crisis that has happened here, through the effects of warfare and so on and so forth, the expansion of the U.S. We've been given identities. We've been told that our history was stolen, our names were stolen, we were stolen from a country and brought here on slave ships. We didn't have a story. We couldn't go back. We were nothing merely but slaves here. And me, I stand on bloodline and genealogy. Me being a Kasadi and understanding who I am, my family passing it down to me and giving me the methodology on how to track and research my history. That's my message and the only message that I have brought out here to the people. I feel like it for as generalized and for everyone's sake, I would say it is important to look back into your story, let go of these doctrines who tell you who you are, and actually go into your family history and find out who you are. Because a lot of us made great contributions to this country, America, and give us something to be proud about, rather than a Black history hero who cooperated in the oppression of us. Again, before I land and close on this here, I agree. We do have a common enemy. Someone did come here to rape, rob, and pillage our land. But what we have to be truthful about, those people were Sephardic Jews, Black Hebrews that came here from Spain, who cooperated and participated and also put up money and were huge cooperators in what happened here. So if you're saying that the tribe of Gad and Reuben is here, are you saying that the Israelites came here and enslaved other Israelites?
Hell no. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying, and what you should understand and what you should acknowledge if you've done any little bit of a history research, is the same reclassification that happened to our people here in America happened to our people in other parts of the world prior to the Europeans coming to America. So if you're standing on the idea that the Sephardic Jews that participated and advanced themselves during the transatlantic slave trade were Israelites, then you're solely delusion, brother.
Okay, well, I asked this question for clarity.
If I could, just real quick, Top Cats, we got a hard cutoff for 7:20. I thought we were going to be able to get at least, close to an hour and a half, and I know we started late. We might have to pick this up after, but I just want to ask you a question just to clarify something. So with you saying the Sephardics who came over to America, are you saying that that's where the Israelite presence in early America comes from, and that it's not actually found amongst the indigenous of the Americas?
Well, what I'm saying is, when we see people identified as Jews, we see this presence coming out of Europe. The people in this land, a lot of people came here and they deemed certain of their customs or their ways as them being Israel. A lot of let's say you brought up De La Casa earlier. You had people like Columbus who said this was Jerusalem. They called the people Los Gentes Indios, meaning people of God. So they did believe that this was the Holy Land, and the people here were the holy people, or Deuteronomy 7, God's chosen people. Now, I could agree, we are God's chosen people, the people of America. We are the people who brought civilization to the world and carried the royal bloodlines here. But what I would say to that, so I'm not opposed to that. What I don't see is the people calling themselves Jews. When we see Jews come here and migrate, whether they be Levi, Benjamin, Gad, Reuben, or the rest of these people migrate into these areas after the Alhambra decree when they was put out of Spain. So if or let me ask you this question then: are the Sephardic Jews, who are they on the 12 tribes?
Okay, but just so you know, that didn't answer my question concerning the artifacts. You know what I'm saying? That like concerning like the evidence.
Yeah, I didn't bring up artifacts.
Okay, so I'll reclarify then. What I'm saying is then what we find as far as the evidence of an Israelite presence inside of America, are you saying that it was the Sephardic that put that here and that they didn't belong to the natives? You know,
no, sir. Okay, no, sir. Okay,
what I'm saying is when you find those artifacts that prove that there was a presence here and it's at large amongst these natives, you know what I'm saying? Like, are you denying those artifacts, or are you saying that they actually belong to the indigenous of the Americas? Because I'm trying to say, was that Sephardic influence, or was that something that these people were doing naturally on their own?
Okay, no problem. No, sir, I wouldn't say these were Sephardics. The Sephardics came and did the colonizing. That's when we see the label of Jew on them. The things that I'm saying, I don't know what artifact particularly you're speaking on, so I don't want to generalize. I can't give you an answer on that because I don't know what artifact you're speaking about. Are there? Do I feel like this is the Holy Land? I feel like America is the Holy Land. But I do understand that in 1493, after that humble decree, that the Jews came and under the Intercatera by the Pope, and they came here and helped colonize America. That is a known fact. And again, I want to ask you guys: will the Sephardic Jews, are they on the 12 tribes? Who would they be?
You want to take a cap, or you want me to answer it?
Go ahead, you got it, Carter.
No, I'm about to say either way. Okay, so it would depend because there was an admixture inside of Sephardim. You know what I'm saying? You had actual white converts and you had actual, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote, so-called Negroes, you know what I'm saying, who were living inside of that land that they were communing together at that time. You know what I'm saying? So once they got expelled, you know what I'm saying, at large, the first deportation was from the quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, black Jews that were inside of that land. But you have a record of a lot of Spaniards who were conversos, meaning they were a part of that Jewish community. And once the Spanish Inquisition came, they converted to Christianity. And it's a proven fact that Columbus was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Christopher Columbus was Cristobal Colon, and he was actually a converso from the Catalans of Spain. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so
hold on. I want to say that something to that. Well,
good.
Christopher Columbus actually wasn't, and he was a Moreno Jew. I agree. His Jewish line comes from the Zarco family out of Portugal. His name is Salvador Fernando Zarco. His mama name is Isabel Zarco. She's daughter to João Zarco, a knight for under Henry the Navigator. Okay, Henry the Navigator, Pope Dennis, when the Templars fell, Pope Dennis gave the Jews land there. They came there and they established the Order of Christ. Okay, King Henry the Navigator, the first to sail out of Portugal, that nautical school. Well, his one of his top captains is João Zarco, King of Portugal, Alfonso IV, Alfonso the African. He had a brother, Fernando, Duke of Baeza. He was first and second Duke of Baeza. That's the father of the real Christopher Columbus. Anybody can look this up right now. Salvador Fernando Zarco. He was a Moreno Jew. This is why he got the money. That's why the Jews put up the money. That's why he took the Jewish interpreter. I heard you say that. He didn't take him because the people spoke Jewish. That brother himself was a Jew. So they spoke Jewish because that was their language.
I'm telling you for a fact, you know what I'm saying, that he for sure brought him with him. He didn't only speak Hebrew. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Louis de Torres.
Louis de
Yeah, I'm
Torres, right?
familiar.
He spoke a handful of them, but that was
Correct.
directly
But
supposed
he
to
spoke
be.
Hebrew because he was a Jew.
I got you, but here's what I'm saying, though. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you. I'm telling you that Christopher Columbus is Jewish. Now, what you're trying to say for his lineage, you'd have to share that information with me. I found his
Yes,
lineage
sir.
coming directly back to Spain, so it's like I actually have, you know what I'm saying, some sources myself. If you want to share the sources,
Did he speak
compare 'em.
Italian?
I don't have. He spoke Latin.
Christopher Columbus didn't speak Italian. His
I
Portuguese was good though.
just said he spoke Latin.
Okay.
But back to what I was saying.
All right, now let me say this here though.
Hold on though.
everybody-
I
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
literally not only
No
let you I not only let you interrupt me, you know what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying, I'm just trying to counter the point to stating that when I turn around and have my sources, they go back to Spain. You know what I'm saying? As
No, I
far
have no problem with that.
that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem with Portugal. I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're trying to say he's Jewish from Portugal. I'm trying to say he's Jewish from Spain.
Right.
And
We
what I'm
come
trying to
together,
say-
he's Jewish though.
He's Jewish. We you know what I'm saying? We
Correct.
could
We can
agree
agree
that
on
he's
that.
Jewish. And what
Yes,
I'm trying
sir.
to say is that the lie surrounding him is that he was an Italian Christian explorer, and that's not the case in any way, shape, or form. So what I'm trying to say is that this cat was not one of the black Jews that was expelled. So I'm trying to show you that during this time period, it was a mixed community. It wasn't as if the face of the Sephardim was just black or it was just white. You get what I'm saying?
Well, Columbus was black.
Brother,
Columbus was a Moreno.
Columbus was not black, bro.
So are the Moreno Jews black? Let me ask that question.
So you have
Yes or no?
you have Morenos who were in fact black, and then you also have Morenos who just inherited that title because they took on the name of the Sephardim in that area. You know what I'm saying? So it would depend on the time frame, the family, and who you're speaking about. Christopher Columbus would not be one of them.
Okay, no problem. For the sake of us moving on, I do want to say this here. With the Christopher Columbus being a Jew, we know he so that helps my argument on saying that the Jews helped colonize America, because Columbus came here under the Intercaterate, which was a papal bull under the Pope to come colonize the Americas. So everything that you're speaking about, as far as colonization or oppression, is actually coming from you guys.
It would not be coming from us because you're conflating the Jewish religious identity with the ethnic identity of the bloodlines of the people that derive from the Israelites. And that's where, when we get into the discussion of, that's why I let Catz take it. You know what I'm saying? Because Catz has done more expansive research and has more pinpoint accurate, you know what I'm saying, sources, you know what I'm saying, for these certain time periods, right? And that's why we bounce back and forth off of each other. But when you asked about the Sephardic Jews, there's a difference between the bloodlines of the Israelites and the people who converted to the religion. And particularly when you're speaking about that time period when the Jews were expelled from Portugal and expelled from Spain, there was a lot of reclassification during that period. There were a lot of those quote unquote conversos who converted from being Jewish into Christianity. A lot of them assumed the identities of Israelites who were expelled from Spain and Portugal. There was a large transference of wealth and a large transference of titles and names that occurred during that time. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you go into the history, which it seems like you've done a little bit of studying, Top Cats, these cats have 4 or 5 different names, 4 or 5 different identities. You understand? You just alluded to Christopher Columbus's family and the original names of his mothers and fathers and where they came from over there in Portugal and in Spain. That is because during that time there was a great influx of quote unquote, y'all use the term conversos, but I'm gonna say it like this: a lot of crackers stole the names and identities and titles of people that they kicked out of the land, and that happened because they wanted to strip the people who had been ruling and dominated in that land of their wealth, of their titles, of their authority, so that they could now take their wealth, take their titles, and take that authority and go and oppress them in all the places where they knew that we were. You understand? So that whole transatlantic slave trade, them coming to the Americas, them folks wasn't just blindly sailing around the world. Them folks wasn't just looking for no goddamn India. They knew exactly who they knew exactly what was here. They knew exactly who was here. And they knew that by coming here, they knew what they were going to be able to do to us because of the condition that we had found ourselves in. And so when it comes to having discussions like this, that's why when it comes to brothers like you, the question that I asked was, how does finding your identity and claiming, you know what I'm saying, being a Kasadi, what does that do for the greater good of our people in fighting against this oppressor? Because by standing on the Bible, we're standing on, I don't want to give it away, but we're standing on something that gives us the answer to the question that I asked you. You know what I'm saying? So if all we're doing is saying we're going to do some genealogy and some bloodline searching and find out who we are, oh man, you know what? My people was indigenous here and we was already here before the Europeans. That's great. Now what? What's the next step? I'm interested in what the next step is. You know what I'm saying? Now,
Yes,
if
sir.
for the sake of getting to that next step, we got to go and battle and debate and argue over, you know, what tribes was here and what they identified themselves as, we can deal with that. But just know that in the end, what we should be looking to answer for the greater good of our people is, what does this information have to do with where we are now and where we're going to go? You got it, Top Cat.
Okay, no problem. Well, I say this, the what's good about it is, so here with the American Indian paradigm, a lot of people want us to drop the title Indian. Well, here, Indian is in the Constitution. The law of the land here are the treaties. When doing our genealogy, a lot of us are tied to these treaties, and so that's why we hold on to it, because our family signed some of these treaties. Like I say, my family, when I didn't chose under the when the Texas gave them the first created the first reservation here in Texas, the oldest reservation in Texas, my family went out and sought out the land. So a lot of these, whether it be the Civil War, Treaty of 1866, Dawes Roads, or any of these roads that's coming out, our family's on there, our family stories on there. The Bible wouldn't have those answers, because the Bible, one thing I like about them, they stuck by genealogy, whether it be Genesis 10 or Matthew 1. See, I'm still in alignment with what they were doing. They followed their genealogy. They didn't. The Lord asked them not to mix with other nations. And so yeah, I follow my genealogy. I'm standing on the same principles that the people in the Bible stood on, which is genealogy over everything. And so knowing your story is where you get knowledge of self and your power. And by knowing your story, it ties you back to, like I say, a political status here, or something that you was owed, and it can also come back and help what was taken. You can get back what was taken from you. A lot of us own land. A lot of this land was taken. We wouldn't know these things unless we knew the story of our family. A lot of us are tied to these treaties, which we're still owed something that we didn't get from. A lot of us don't know that because we've fallen into these misclassifications or into some of these doctrines which don't tell the story. The Bible can't tell us about getting our land stolen here. The Bible can't tell us how we were misclassified here. The people that brought the Bible here were Jews. So I give you an example, right? When they came with the, hey, you remind me of this nigga I know, have you ever heard of the 12 tribes? When they came to the Algonquins, John Eliot, they're gonna create the first Bible, which is the Eliot Bible. They're gonna translate it into the Algonquin language. They built they brought that indoctrination here. You feel me? That wasn't already here. When they got to the Algonquins, they didn't have a Bible. You feel me? But the Jews did. And so
you know what though, Top? That same pastor who was trying to, you know what I'm saying, translate that to the Algonquin language, when he was translating it, he was one of the people who publicized that the Algonquin language was nearly identical to actually Hebrew. And that when he was looking at, you know what I'm saying, the movement of the languages, so on and so forth, he was actually the one who says, yo, this is nearly identical to, you know what I'm saying, the Hebrew tongue. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying, like, and I have that on record, you know what I'm saying, as far as what they wrote, you know what I'm saying, concerning that study. But we're gonna have to definitely do a part 2, bro. We had a little bit of miscommunication with the with as far as the time, you know what I'm saying. I do have to, you know what I'm saying, end this now. I want to be able to
hold on. Let me get one more question.
I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give you the closing.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying. I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying, just do a recap that we're gonna have to do a part 2 and then come down to the topic of what's actually going to be debated. I see there's things we agree on and there's things we disagree on, but I think the main thing is what Captain Sakawar said, that you conflate, you know what I'm saying, who the actual ethnic Jews of antiquity are with the imposters who stole their identity. And I think once we get past that, we might actually be able to break some ground. But you know what I'm saying, you got it in the Cap, you know what I'm saying, if you could close out after him, and then we're gonna wrap up.
For sure.
All right, Cap, Sakawar, my last question would be did you come here under the Deuteronomy 28? Was you brought here by slave ship from Africa?
No.
Okay, so you don't believe in Deuteronomy 28.
I believe in Deuteronomy 28, but my people did not get to the Americas under Deuteronomy 28.
How did your people get to America?
We was already here before. We was already here before the devils came.
So Reuben lived in America.
Yes.
Where?
Again.
Come on, brother. I asked you a direct question.
I know you asked me a direct question. That it'll take too long to answer that question, but I understand exactly where this line of questioning is leading, and that's something that we can, if that's what you want to have a debate about, that's what we can have a debate about. You know what I'm saying? But prior to the Europeans coming over here and colonizing America, the Israelites were already here, and I'll leave it at that. That was your last question?
Yes, sir. I think we get there. I'm cool with that.
No sweat. So, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead and wrap it up, man. Priest and Captain Sakawar, 1,000 out here, out of Memphis, Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Captain Catz brought me on here. Being an Israelite, you know what I'm saying, from the 12 tribes, from the Tribe of Gad, you know what I'm saying, who was already here in America before them Europeans came and colonized it. You know what I'm saying? Had a discussion with this brother Top Catz. Like Catz.
Hey, Cap, you cut out. You muted.
What about now?
Yeah, you back now.
No, I was saying, you know what I'm saying, the brother Top Catz, there's a lot of what he's bringing out. We don't have no disagreements. We're not bumping no heads. You know what I'm saying? But the specifics of the path you're trying to walk me down, we can sit down, we can discuss the parameters of a debate, you know what I'm saying? But, you know what I mean, for all you indigenous Aboriginal brothers and sisters out there, the message of the ISUPK is simple. We family. We all one family. Prior to them devils coming over here, you know what I'm saying, we had the common ground we stood on was that we was the Most High's chosen people. And if we come back to standing on that common ground as being the Most High's chosen people, there is some parameters and some moralities and some rules and some structure that's already in place for us to gather together, stand under the Most High, do what we're supposed to do, live how we're supposed to live. And that's how we're going to reclaim all of the glory and all of the greatness that was lost because of what these devils did coming over here and confounding and confusing us. And with that, Catz, you got it.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate both of y'all being here tonight. Unfortunately, we got off to a late start, you know what I'm saying? So we're missing at least, you know, a solid 30 minutes of dialogue. You know what I'm saying? Top, hit me up when you'd be available, you know what I'm saying, for a part 2. You know what I'm saying? That this way we could reschedule it and then maybe be able to iron out exactly, you know, what we're going to discuss for the first debate that's to come, all right?
Shalaki. All right, shalom, Mark. Y'all be cool. Like, y'all be cool. Appreciate you. I'll be getting with y'all. Appreciate you, Sakawar. Appreciate you.
For sure. Shalom, man.
Definitely appreciate y'all. And with that, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe, share, you know what I'm saying? Tune in next time, Thursday. You know what I'm saying? This Thursday, just so y'all know, we're going to have a couple of guests on the show as well, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the following week, June 8th, we having a debate on heaven and hell. All right, shalom, y'all.